I think we're going to see a lot of big first serves. I think we're going to see a pro-like atmosphere out here between these two guys. And Davis, I'm really looking forward to it.
After watching the girls play, I can't wait to see these guys hit the ball. I think we have at least one Davis Cupper on our hand here, maybe two.
Wow, that's an interesting prediction. These guys have had a bit more of a difficult road to the final than the woman who we saw earlier this morning. Alejandro Tabilo was very close to losing his round of 16 match to Philip Obachina. He was actually down 4-love in the third set and had to fight off a match point. So he's kind of lucky to be here.
Well, I mean, if I'm him, I like that. I like that I had to go through that and I came out on top, because if that happens today, I've got that experience. And it's not like 2 weeks ago, it was a couple days ago.
Good point. And Mr. Alexander Day, he also had a difficult time in his quarterfinal match. He was battling hard, and it was 4-all in the third set, and he needed a service break in order to escape that match. Both players won fairly routinely yesterday. Martin Barand was not much of a challenge for Alejandro. Even though Barand was the #1 seed, that was a routine 6-3, 6-3 effort, and Alexander Day won also in straight sets 6-4, 6-4. These guys are friends. They won the doubles championship together yesterday, and they're traveling to Costa Rica later in the week, and they're going to play doubles there too. So I think they know each other's game. They haven't played head-to-head in over 2 years. Alejandro did win that match fairly routinely 2 years ago, but a lot has changed since then. Alejandro is now a guy training at IMG, and he's working really hard playing at the Nick Bollettieri Tennis Academy. So I look forward to seeing what has transpired since he's been working down there.
Absolutely. I think we've got a great match. I think they both want to win. I think they always want to win. But the age difference tells me that I don't think Alexander Day wants to lose to a gentleman that's 2 years younger than him.
Yeah, that 2-year age gap is significant. We were talking about that a little bit off camera. If one player is 25 and one player is 23, not so much. But 17 and 15, I think that could be significant. Alexander Day is a really smart guy. He's going to Princeton next year, and he's going to take advantage of all the extra experience he's had. I don't look for him to get killed the way he did 2 years ago when these guys played. I think it's going to be a little closer. But my gut's telling me that Alejandro might have a little bit too much game.
Totally agree with you, Michael.
Our chair umpire is Diane Guy, who we just caught a glimpse of there. We're now looking at Alexander Day. He's getting his thoughts together before possibly the biggest match of his life.
Alejandro's played in some pretty big matches that are probably more significant than this in the grand scheme of things, but you're always tight before a match like this. There's cameras rolling, and you want to do as well as you can.
We're moments away from getting this national indoor under-18 final kicked off.
Ready, play.
That is the first point of many, many, many points that we're going to see like that. First thing that's noticeable is the lefty serve, which is pulled away from the right-hander's backhand. And man, did he come over to hit that inside-out forehand.
In the alley.
It actually wasn't an inside-out forehand. It was an inside-in forehand. I just couldn't believe how far into the alley he was when he struck it.
One thing that's really noticeable with Alejandro is a very good release of his wrist. He's getting, other than the great timing, he's really snapping through, and it's making that ball just jump up through the baseline.
Tons of racket speed.
And he's clearly not tentative to start this match.
He sat with us 5 minutes before the match was to begin, and he seemed so calm and so relaxed.
I was more nervous for him.
40 love.
In fact, Mr. Day sat with us even closer to start time, and these guys didn't seem to be worried or troubled at all that the match was about to start. I remember when I was playing in these kind of matches, there's no way I'd be talking to the commentators minutes before the match.
Game Tabilo, first game.
That's the perfect. That's if you could write down how you wanted to win your first game. That was the script right there.
That was a perfect first service game. And clearly he said he wasn't nervous. I'm not sure I believed him at the time, but now I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was so calm in that game. And yeah, by playing as much as he is, competing down in the States, always in that competitive environment, I don't think a national championship match like this is really any different for him than going and playing wherever he's playing worldwide.
I agree. And for Day, you know, going over after that game, that was clearly an explosive game for Alejandro. You kind of have to expect that. They're big servers. They're going to hold more than what we saw a little earlier where there was not a big serve. So service games are crucial.
I get the feeling that Alexander really isn't a flashy guy, but boy, are those shoes flashy. That is a
15 love.
bomb of a forehand.
Yeah. You almost have to guess where it's going.
So far, a scripted start for both players. Football teams often say they have the first 6 or 7 plays drawn up before the start, and it looks like these guys are matching whatever they've envisioned prior to their first service game.
30-15.
So right, you see Alexander already. He's kind of thinking, is the ball boy coming? Is he not coming? Is the ball going to be picked up or it's not? And I think that had something to do with his double fault there. He has a routine and he wants to stick to it. As good of a return point as you can play. He neutralized that. That was a big serve that he sliced back with his forehand that's being used more and more.
I liked looking at his face there. He called it in, he called it out, he kind of went both, then he looked at the umpire, and then he just decided, you know what, it was in. Let's move on.
(40-30).
Big point early in the match. Set up with that nice wide serve. Court was a little bit open, and then he slung a forehand down the line that just caught the tape ever so slightly. And the impressive part for me was that little fist pump that he showed there. He's into it early on.
Deuce.
Looks like both of them have big forehands, and when you have big forehand, it's hard to know when to be patient and when not to be patient and when to go for it. It's literally going to be centimeters between the difference of them stepping in and hitting a winner or trying to neutralize the player and move the ball around.
Advantage Day.
Pointing case right there. I mean, that was just slightly shorter by Alejandro, and it's a winner by Day.
It's only been one service game each, but so far it looks like Tabilo's got a little bit bigger of a serve.
Yeah.
Game Day.
I think that's his MO. Good service game by Day. That's the game you wanted. You gotta hold early. unlike we saw with the girls earlier, you know, an early service break can just be a mental breakdown.
The quality of play initially has been very, very high.
Oh, yeah.
This level is maintained over the process of the match. We're in for a great one.
15 love.
Quite a bit behind the baseline there, and no shape on that ball, no height.
Yeah.
Looked like he was reaching, and it looked like he was just a little anxious. He didn't need to hit it that hard.
Love.
There's an example of having a linesman would be a huge advantage. That serve, although on the line, it looked like it was 8-10 inches long. It wasn't inside the service box, and there's no way that Alexander's going to be able to call that on his own. It's traveling too fast.
He's focusing on returning the ball.
Yeah.
He wants someone else to make the call.
40 love.
You're absolutely right, Michael, about the dominance of the serve. You can already see it.
As we pointed out in the girls' match, the players will make their own line calls. The only way that Diane Guy will get involved is if there is a mistake, and if a ball is out and the player plays it. Diane Guy does not get involved. She will only get involved if it's a mistake made, meaning a wrong call. That had some heat on it.
40-15.
That's the double fault that goes down, in my book, is absolutely meaningless.
Yeah,
You're
I
at
agree.
40 love. You've got a cannon of a serve. Pete Sampras played tennis most of his life hitting 2 first serves. So the odd double fault when you've got that big of a serve is not a problem at all.
Would have liked to have seen him go for it then, rather than double faulting on a weak second serve. But I agree with you. Nice game.
Tabilo. Tabilo leads at 2-1. First set.
One thing is for certain, they're hitting the ball hard. And there's a lot of topspin, which means not a lot of balls are going to go flying. We may see the net come into play, but I can't see a lot of balls going 4 feet, 5 feet behind the baseline. They're just putting too much spin on it.
New balls, fast court, great technology, all adds up to power tennis, smash mouth tennis, just ripping the ball side to side. Eventually, when the balls get a little fluffier, which we know we change balls after 7 games, and then as the match progresses, we change after 9. I think we might see just a little bit more height on the ball, a little bit more of a loop, but for the most part, I think we're going to see a lot of power tennis.
Well, they're trying to establish their game styles right now, which are pretty much the same, which is bang the ball hard and move the player around. So they can't go away from that.
Initiated by the serve.
You got it.
Love 15.
Poor shot selection there more than anything. Turning over that ball with his wrist really quickly. Needs high clearance unless he's planning on flattening it out a little bit. Here's the replay right here. We'll show that. Turned over it with his wrist.
That was significantly down in the net, so that was a big mistake.
15 all.
That's more of a bigger serve. That had the most heat of any serve that he's hit in the early part of this match. So difficult for these players to make these line calls on serves coming this fast. I really think Tennis Canada needs to rethink this. Put linesmen in the position so the players just have to worry about hitting the ball instead of calling the lines at the same time.
30 all.
As Canada continues to grow and get better in Davis Cup and to compete in the World Group, you may even look to change the timing of this. This is happening and occurring at the same weekend that Canada is playing against Italy in the most important Davis Cup match in Canadian history. So
40-30.
if all of our lines people are there.
Take a look at this. Another big serve. Really sets up a pretty easy forehand. Walks in. For guys of this ability, that's a layup. He's not going to miss that ever.
Van Dace, not sure. Was it called out? Was it not called out? The umpire asks Alejandro to be more transparent, make sure you're calling it out, put the finger up higher, something to show the opponent that it's out.
It's funny, when we were sitting with Alejandro, I actually made a point to tell him, please make the calls really audible so it's easy for us commentators to determine what's happening.
Advantage day.
Last year when we did this, Davis, we talked about the game being all about the serve and all about the forehand. Look at that racket speed. Just a bullet.
He freezes Alejandro in the middle because he can go anywhere. But very nice drop shot, showing very good feel. But quickness from Alejandro. Very good quickness.
I like the play from Alexander there. Again, he was using pretty good disguise. He didn't flip his grip over for the drop shot. He still had that forehand grip, and that was a pretty good shot that he got. Unlucky that he didn't win the point.
Oh, that was a fist pump and a come on.
Advantage Tabilo.
We are at our first break point in this boys under 18 indoor national final.
Hard to tell, Michael, that there's a 2-year age difference here. Alejandro's got a little bit of height on Alexander, and they're about the same build, so looks like Alejandro might be a big man. Big serve there.
At an important juncture of the match. Don't want to get down a break when a guy's got a heater like Mr. Tabilo.
So that's a set play that I've seen now from Alexander, where he wants to serve sort of into the middle of the court, and then it allows him with his forehand to freely go to either side. It's difficult for Alejandro, for anybody, to return the ball into a corner from the middle.
Great point.
Deuce.
Unless he's trying to pick on the backhand side because it's that much weaker, which I don't think it is. Alexander, that ball needed to go back cross court. That was not the time. He was off balance, and we saw that a little bit in the girls' matches. A lot of down the line shots that weren't successful.
And although he framed that return, Alejandro will be the first to admit his backhand is the consistent side. It's not going to miss a lot. So, play the percentage shot.
Great extension on that serve. And look, I love the early fist pumps. Yeah. This is a big match for both these guys.
So very important to point out there for younger players watching and parents watching and even coaches, when you leave the ground to hit a backhand, you're off balance. So understanding you're trying to get up there to make contact higher, you've lost the swing. It's all about from the ground up. Don't jump and swing.
It's a little bit of a showboat move, I think.
Safin did it a lot, but he was Safin.
Advantage day.
Tabilo not even playing that ball, just assuming or hoping it's out. Day's talking to himself on a regular basis. He knows how important this game is.
Pivotal.
Deuce.
It's good stuff. Alejandro dug himself out of a hole with that snapping forehand whipping ball that right here. Great effort from Alexander. Just missed it by a foot long.
That's a good approach shot. That's not a bad approach shot at all by Day. That's just a very nice pass. A little flick of the wrist cross court. When you
Once
move,
again, they're looking for tennis balls, which I find curious when we have ball boys and ball girls out here.
but looking over at the ball kids, I rarely see them sitting down, but I have one boy sitting down.
What number? Out. Out.
Players don't want to deal with this right now either. This is too important of a game. They don't want to think about where the ball is.
There it is. I can see it. Yeah, he's got it. It's a little bit crazy that this can actually go on in a championship match like this. By my count, that is 4 miss-hit forehands in this game. So when you're miss-hitting the ball, he actually hit a winner earlier on in the game that just caught the line. That I think the miss-hit helped it because it had extra juice on it, extra spin, and it dropped in. But those miss-hits are a little troublesome because I think he's getting anxious, and I think he's meeting the ball a little bit early.
Yeah.
No miss-hit there. That was as clean as a whistle, and a bomb going past Alejandro.
As far as miss-hits go, Alejandro's not miss-hit much so far in this match. He's a clean, smooth player. What sets something like that up too is when you return the ball with a forehand slice or a backhand slice in the singles match, that ball you know is coming from low to high on the next shot. So that alone gives you that opportunity to recover, knowing that it's going to be lifted up over the net and you can start your point.
One is 18, I think one is 16. Young kids, young.
Again, people watching, that's where a put-away volley goes. You don't put it back into the corner because then the player can run it down. It goes short into the box, point is over.
And you see that so much more with guys like Federer now. Federer used to volley deep all the time, but then he realized Nadal, Djokovic, Murray, whoever, they just run across the baseline like nothing and zip it by them. So you're nailing it. You're right on the mark there, David. Volleys have to go short.
Advantage day.
We've been a part of this. You've been here. I think it's 5 years in a row for you. This is my second, but I've been here for the others. This looks like one of the better matches.
Couldn't agree more. And due to the long, extended game here, it just adds extra importance.
Rushed through his routine there.
I feel like if this game goes to Tabilo, that is curtains on the first set.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like the type of player to give up much.
bit of panic there. He didn't need to end the point. He was having huge success in that backhand cross-court rally to Day's forehand. He didn't need to end the point there, but I do like what he's doing on the return, just chipping it back and starting at neutral and saying, let's have a baseline rally to determine who wins this point.
Game day. Two
He
games
wants that
all.
back,
First
but that's the
set.
point of the day.
Is that a pun?
Very much so.
So I think the get here on this drop shot, which we'll see in 1 second, the get right here, he got that. And I think this lob was going out. From my vantage point, he shouldn't have hit that. But he did, and he got a little bit discombobulated with his feet. They weren't organized.
You hit that overhead 9 times out of 10 too, don't you, though? You don't let that drop.
I don't let it drop because
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I'm saying sitting here where I am at the angle I'm at, that ball was missing by 6 inches. You agree?
I agree.
Love 15.
Mr. Day has game.
Yeah.
The boys at Princeton are going to be ecstatic when they see who they're bringing on.
Oh, that's feel.
15 all.
You're not tight when that happens.
He
Let's
talked
look
about
at
his
that.
drop shot with us. He said he loves to use it. Not so much on a hard court, but that was just beautiful. Wow. He had that ball on a string.
And you also saw Day was a little bit further back from the baseline than he normally would be.
With that strategy, it's hard to employ a lot, but you can certainly keep your opponent off guard if it's very random.
Beautiful shot.
15.
I really like, you know, Day's we'll call them approach shots, even though they end up being winners for him quite often. But I love the fact that he is going through the shot. So if it comes back, he can put a volley away. There's no hesitation. That body momentum is really helping him. Pulled away from that.
15-40.
15-40 now. Mr. Tabilo's facing his first break points of the afternoon.
So we're going to see here for sure Alejandro makes his recovery off the serve, but then he's backing up as he's trying to hit that.
You can see by the finish, the racket was coming up beside his head, which means contact point is not favorable.
But like any good player, you followed up with that. That's why this young man won one of the toughest junior tournaments there is to win, the Eddie Herr under 14.
You tell me a kid has won the Eddie Herr, and I'm saying right away we've got a real player on our hands.
Orange Bowl and Eddie Herr, those are the tournaments.
He won the doubles in the under 16 at the Orange Bowl, which again is lights out impressive.
Chris volley. Again, I like the depth on that volley, as you're going to see here. There's depth on the first volley, causing a tough, vulnerable shot. Gives you an overhead.
Almost the same overhead from the exact same position of the court that he missed 3 minutes ago. So from his perspective, it's a good thing he made it, because I think he'd keep getting lobbed.
I've seen a lot of Alejandro over the years, and he's always been a type